Hey guys, what is going on? Sharp Thinking here. So I wanted to do a video response to something people ask me quite a bit, and that is if I could only have one knife, what would it be? That's a really difficult question to answer. I'm gonna do my best to do it. Sitting before you are seven of my all-time favorite knives. You guys have seen these in almost every video I've done in the past year, if not, these exact models, and I have duplicates of most of them. Um, these are all incredible knives, and this video is not meant to knock any of them. This is just my personal preference. But for me, while it isn't easy, it's definitely something I put a lot of thought into, and I can tell you without a doubt, if I were to narrow it down to two, I could do that in a heartbeat. So I'm gonna do that for you guys. And guys, these seven knives on the table are the knives I would recommend to anybody over almost anything else. These are some of my, these are my all-time favorite knives. The seven I just put in front of you. They're not going to fail you. They're extremely reliable, extremely nice, well-made knives that are going to last you a lifetime. So, I guess, how do I want to do this? I guess we'll talk about the Umnumzaan second. So the Microtech SOCOM is a knife that I have done a couple of videos on. It's gotten a lot of attention on my channel and on Nero Knives' channel. I'm pretty good buddies with him. Yeah, a lot of people went out and picked these up. These knives are insanely well made for the money. These guys are about 280 to 300, and for that money, you are getting a hell of a knife. This could very well be my number one if I had not found the Umnumzaan. And I'm going to talk about everything I like about this, and then we'll talk about the Umnumzaan. This thing is kind of a dual design, in my opinion. It's definitely not an office knife or a gentleman's carry, but it's a work knife. And it's not just a work knife. This knife is a do-everything knife. If you like functional designs like I do, and you don't really care about the action or the fit and finish of knives in general, I would say fit and finish and action to a point are not important to me. I would say action is the least important in a folding knife. Then this is good. Like, you'd love this. It's a extremely functional design, very thin behind the edge. It's not going to break. The lock is extremely secure in my experience on all of them I have. It's a hell of a knife. What was I talking about? Here. Lost my train of thought. We are back. Yeah, so on the flip side to that, if you are a fit and finish and action guy, this is also a great knife for you. This thing has a recoil when you deploy it. It sounds like a pistol slide being racked. It's nuts. This thing is absolutely the Microtech knocked it out of the park on this in almost every regard. The only thing it's not is a small EDC knife, and that's by design. Everything it's designed to do, it does. It's ergonomic. It's fun to play with. The lock is secure. It cuts well. It's just, you can't ask for much more in a knife. It's smooth. It's beautiful. Some people don't like the handles. They have carbon fiber inserts on some of them. I personally think that this is a great looking knife. It is a little basic, and people can argue that the materials are subpar for the money. I do not think that's the case whatsoever, thus my stance on the knife. But yeah, what is keeping me from selecting this as my, if I could only have one, it's the longevity of the knife. And it's really only two things. So number one, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, it's a flat grind. Now, a flat grind is great when you first get it. It is, I mean, it's a very durable and robust grind. And I don't think in day to day use it's going to let anybody down. I don't think it's going to disappoint. Here's the reason why I'm saying this. If I can only have one knife, it's not if I can only have one knife for 30 seconds. It's if I can only have one knife for the rest of my life. That's how I interpret the question. So this knife is going to need to be able to maintain a thin cutting edge for an extended period of time. This knife, I think, can do it. I just don't think it can do it for the rest of my life. I think once you hit around here, you're gonna be you're gonna be cutting with a brick. I'll tell you that. Another thing that isn't a problem day to day, and it's not been a problem for me, even when I abused the shit out of one of my SOCOMs. I got sand in the bearings and all that. Bearings still, in my opinion, are less reliable. That's just kind of a stance I've taken. I mean, they're not, I can't even say that they're less reliable. They're just not my preferred washer bearing, or yeah, washer system. I don't know why I said bearing. But to me, I've seen some things in terms of prying, which of course, what's the likelihood that I'm going to do that day to day? That, you know, have shown me some negatives that can come about of bearings. And I'm going to link my washer video below so you guys can learn more about that. If you wish, if you think I'm a jackass for saying it, give me a dislike. But yeah, I don't prefer bearings. I've said it quite often. I think that the best hinderer was the Gen 4 before they did the tri-way pivot and before they did the lock insert. I don't know. I've had incredible experiences with all my hinderers, but I don't know. I don't know. Bearings are certainly not my favorite. So this knife, we'll talk about this real quick. This is my favorite knife of all time. It's in my favorite configuration. A couple of you guys know I'm a big Wilson Combat fan. I don't own a Wilson Combat at the moment, but hopefully that's going to change in the next couple of weeks. This is a Wilson Combat Umnumzan. You guys should know that. I think I mentioned it earlier in the video. This is this is my choice, without a doubt. So what does this knife offer that the other knives I showed you? You know, all of these great other options. You guys know I love the LUDT. I love the XM18, the Sebenza 21. Almost the same. But there's certain things that I think that this knife does better than all of them. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, this blade addresses the issue I had with the SOCOM. So now we have a deep hollow grind. It's going to maintain a thinner cutting edge for a very long time. I would say that you could probably sharpen up to, I don't know, maybe about like, here, let me get something to point with, right around here, I would say, before it starts to thicken up to any degree that you'll notice. Maybe, yeah, right around here. So that completely annihilates that concern I had. This knife runs on gigantic phosphorus bronze washers. It has cutouts that hold grease, so lubrication is not an issue. This knife has been soaked in water. I've taken it apart. I haven't really cleaned it. I don't know if you guys saw this. A buddy of mine used this knife to cut a fish's head off when we were fishing. He just grabbed it, didn't know what it was, cut the fucking fish in half, and that was that. He cut on top of a rock as well. So not my favorite moment. But yeah, moving on. This knife has damn near perfect ergonomics. I think it's beautiful. It's a great looking knife. Everything about it is flawless, in my opinion. The pocket clip has that secondary retention. You're not going to lose this knife. The over travel stop, I kind of get that. With a lot of the Sebenzas, it's pretty easy to over extend or not the washer, the liner. On this knife, it's not even possible, which is a bonus, I'll say. But overall, I just like the ergonomics and the blade shape. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time deploying this knife right now. Yeah, so ergonomics and blade shape are huge. It's a almost perfect blade shape for me. It's got a decent amount of flat, nice belly, and then a nice sharp point, which is kind of similar to the SOCOM. The SOCOM is kind of more belly. The belly starts like right back here and then goes all the way to the tip. This blade shape I like a little bit more. I like how I can put my thumb in here if I'm doing some, harder cuts, mostly rope, which I don't do that often anymore. But when cutting cardboard, this knife is extremely ergonomic. That flat handle design is perfect. This is just, it's the knife for me. I've been recommending this a lot, and I know a lot of guys have picked them up. I know all my local guys who I hang out with, go on hikes with, I think everybody except for one person owns an Umnumzaan now. It's a hell of a knife. And in my opinion, it has a little bit more character than the Sebenza 21. Now, I like the Sebenza 21, but here's why this is not my favorite knife. So, the handle, almost the same. The blade, almost the same. Ergonomics on this are great. This would be my favorite. I actually do like the lock interface. I like the titanium on steel more than I like the ceramic. At this point, it's not really based on anything. It's just kind of a preference I have. Here's what I don't like about this knife. So the way it carries in the pocket, love it. Everything else is good. This knife gets so much thicker as you go to the tip. And it's just, a lot of the cuts I do are kind of by the point of the knife. And in my opinion, well, it's not even my opinion. This is a fact. The Umnumzaan maintains its thickness behind the edge all the way to where that swedge meets the hollow grind. So I like that a lot more. I was talking to the guys in the group chat, Super Steel Steve, Alchemy One, about that, Nero Knives, and I'm in the minority on that. I have to say, I think Nero prefers the Sebenza to the Umnumzaan. For me, it's the other way around. I still love this. I'm never going to get rid of the Sebenza. I'm always going to have at least one. I can tell you guys that much. But yeah, for me, it's just the operation with gloves on is flawless. It's not like a drop shut ball bearing knife. This is not going to be for everybody. S35VN steel, which I like. They will be coming out in S45VN, so I'm going to get one of those. But yeah, so the S35VN has another advantage that a lot of higher end steels do not. I'm talking about steels like S90V. Of course, you can strop any blade. But in my experience, stropping S35VN has been very positive. I've gotten great results. I've been able to hold an edge for a very long time without having to put this guy on a stone or remove any material, basically. Or any real material. Of course, you're removing material with a strop still. But yeah, that's my number one right here. This would be my, literally to the T, Wilson Combat Umnumzaan. Boom, that's it. So for all of you guys who inquired about what my favorite knife would be, there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If anybody wants to do a tag video, if you could only have one knife, feel free, tag me in it, let me know, send it to me on Instagram, and I will watch it, I'll comment, just let me know. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.